The African National Congress will this week hold its January 8th statement at the Moruleng Stadium in the Northwest. The 114th anniversary celebrations come as the province faces a series of challenges, including internal squabbles within the party, which has had a stronghold on a number of municipalities over the years. At least 8 of the 24 municipalities there have been placed under provincial administration in recent years amid complaints of poor service delivery. What will the ANC tell the people of the Northwest considering the state of the province? Well, Professor of Public Administration at the Northwest University, Kedibone Phago, joins me now for this discussion. Let's talk about the ANC's move to take the January 8th statement to the Northwest. We understand it's election year and everything that the ANC will do from this point going onwards would be strategic. So why take it to one of the most troublesome provinces, if for lack of a better term?
Look, Linda, good morning and thank you for having me. What we notice is that there is still a few ANC strongholds, if you may call it that, in the country. So Northwest is one of them, and you also have Limpopo and the Eastern Cape. So at least that is where they still have some hope to sort of consolidate themselves and maintain the political support, especially for the upcoming local government elections. So it makes some bit of sense because it's quite easy for them at this point in time compared to many other provinces that are going to be highly contested, and they know that they have lost ground, and in some cases like Gauteng and KZN, they know that they are really going to be embattled.
Yeah, you talk about it being a stronghold, and one wonders what it will do for them, given that there has been service delivery challenges over the years in the Northwest, but the electorate seems to be thinking that they are still the party of choice to lead that particular province.
That is a very important point that really warrant our discussion. The paradox of having the ANC significantly underperforming in provinces like the Northwest, as you rightly pointed out, that there are huge service delivery backlogs, crumbling infrastructure, and just outright incompetence in the government of Northwest and the municipalities there that are largely run by the ANC. And we don't see any signs of recovery. And so the paradox is that that is where they still have a solid support, that people will still go all out to vote for them because probably there hasn't been any political party that managed to sell itself properly to the people of Northwest. So we also need to call on the other political parties that are part of the stake, in South Africa's political landscape to contest and, make themselves visible and sell themselves genuinely to South Africans.
Yeah, and I wonder what is in the electorate's mind, particularly from the Northwest, when you look at what institutions like the Auditor General has said about municipalities like the Tsobotla, the Human Rights Commission saying, about 14 of 19 municipalities are involved in a gross violation of human rights with basic services. In September of 2025, Parliament's Joint Oversight Delegation heard what they described as horrifying stories of recklessness, which the residents bear the brunt. So when the resident or the electorate in the Northwest thinks about the ANC, what comes to their mind?
So what we're raising is quite necessary, Linda. The issue around our democratic system is called representative democracy. So the people who are in parliament, who are in provincial legislatures, who are in municipal councils, have a huge responsibility to make sure that these governance failures are addressed. So for the government, members of parliament to visit the province and just come up with a report should not end there, but should also end in demonstrating or showing the follow up and the follow through with the government. So they need to tell the executive what needs to be done, because it is those people that represent us in the legislatures that are also contributing to the failure of not holding executive to account, because you will understand that it is going to be a bit difficult for individuals to stand up and keep government accountable. But because the political system allows our representatives, our political representatives in these legislatures, to take these matters up on our behalf. So we also need to ask them these difficult questions, those who have been serving in provincial legislatures and in national parliament and in municipal council. What have they contributed during these previous local government configurations? Because we need to know exactly who they have held to account and what did they do to make sure that the crumbling local government system, somehow it's resurrected and resuscitated and maintained to a very large extent.
Yeah, the ANC is going to, set the tone for the political year for themselves, right? And among some of the key things that are going to be announced by the president are the strategies, perhaps not in great detail, really, around the elections that are coming up. And what's interesting about these local government elections is that, there was a blame in 2024 on the rise in the MK party and, the significant votes going to that party in KwaZulu-Natal, but also the dissatisfaction with the economy and unemployment. The MK party is, one would say, seemingly, having its own challenges. So what exactly would the ANC look at this year when it comes to strategizing and going into the election year?
Look, I was really so hoped that the ANC was able to demonstrate to South Africans, but also to itself, its members, that it has capacity to both strategize and implement its strategy. You saw also the recent tension amongst the ANC members in KZN, who were actually complaining about the interventions that has been made. So I don't really see any strong strategy that is going to come out of the ANC, because it is a house on fire and it is really unable to administer its own affairs. That would, firstly, because they are preaching the question of unity, unifying the party at this stage, which I don't think it's possible in any way, as we can see that they have been losing ground across the board, maybe here and there in the provinces that they have a stronghold, as I've indicated earlier, Limpopo, Northwest, and Eastern Cape, where they still have some kind of political support. But overall, I think they are really struggling and do not have what it takes, because largely what you need to do is what they need is they need to have a lot of competent and disciplined members. But we know that the only focus once they get into the positions of power has been the tenders and rent seeking, other than making a focus on the provision of public service, because we have seen that when they focus on public service delivery, they actually are able to garner more support, because ANC is still a very strong brand, but I think the people that are representing it have really thrown it out of the window.
Let's talk about, the issue around corruption and the challenges that the ANC has had in dealing with it, because earlier you were talking about the internal squabbles. We know there are internal squabbles in every province, including the Northwest, but how those sort of impact the ANC-run municipalities' ability to deliver basic services. So the internal political squabbles that impact on the party's ability or their representatives' ability to deliver services.
Mostly their squabbles are really about access to resources. And that generally would mean that there is always a contestation for power. Because the person who wins the day then would have access to governance levers, to municipalities, to provincial coffers. And I think it is where you see the issues of factions even gaining momentum, because there is then an environment well fertile for factions, because that is where they dish out patronage. And so if you are not liked, you lose out, and therefore you have an opportunity to go and mobilize for your own faction so that you can remove the sitting faction. So I think they focused more on themselves and the internal dynamics within the ANC to some extent, neglecting service delivery that actually has demonstrated to a very large extent that it is what they need to do to regain public trust and confidence.
That was a professor of public administration at the Northwest University, Kedibone Phago. Thank you very much for your time.